and welcome back to Raymies Garage. Just following on from the video we done last week about replacing the pads and the discs, and you've seen there that we found that the pistons were very sticky in the caliper itself. So we've now got a full set of new pistons and seals. These are the pistons that we're going to use. So what we're going to do today is to replace all the pistons and seals in this Brembo 6-pot caliper because they're sticking. So I've already got the caliper off, that's obvious, and I'll take the pads out and then we'll push the pistons out and we'll go through the process of repairing them. So this will be a good video. We've done this before on Apprentice Pat's car a way back, if you look back in the videos, but I'll maybe put a description of that video in there and a description of us changing the disc pads and the disc, or as otherwise known as a rotor. So we'll get ahead with that. First thing we need to do is to punch out the pins, which are here, and the bolt that goes through the pads. That's the newest pin, covered in grease to get it out easily, and I'm hoping these pins come out fairly easy. Yeah, they're moving. I'll put that way there. Probably could have done this in the car, but hey ho. That spring should come off. There's the pad out. The pad's been on for about, I don't know, a week or so. Looks okay. Stick that over there. And push the other one out. That's the 2 pins and the spring out. The plan here is to remove these 6 pistons, and how I'm going to do that is I'm going to use where the banjo bolt goes a wee bleed nipple, a wee hose, and I'm going to blow air in there and pop these 3 pistons out. I might actually pop the whole lot of them out because they'll all push out. Then we're going to remove all the seals, give it a clean, we'll put new O-rings in it, new seals in it, new pistons in it. So let's see if we can get these pistons out. So I'm hoping we can catch that on camera. So I'm just putting a bleed nipple in here, a wee bit of hose in the end of it. I'm going to get my air gun. Get it in here, ready, and by putting a bit of pressure through there, I'm looking for these 3 pistons at the back to pop out. No, these ones come out, so which is fair enough. I'll try and, you'll notice this one here is not popped out at that side, so this one's not popped out, but they have. to a certain degree. These ones have stayed in, which means that this one's kind of stuck, if you like. Let's try another bit of pressure. Oh, smooth now. So that's out. Okay, so we will take our gun back off. Bring it up out the road, so that lets us take these three. That's even blew the seal out there. See that? That'll take these three out. So that's the seal off that one. So they're out. I'm just trying to figure out how now I blow these other ones out without, because when I take these out we're going to lose that seal. A wee bit bigger wood there, I could have put it up there. It would have helped that. So I'm going to try and just pop these out. I'll put one bit of wood in and see what happens next. Get my gun back on. That's push diamonds right out, see that? That's piston 1. Piston 2. Piston 3. So the other alternative there is we'll put these ones in first, then we'll clamp them with a clamp, then we'll pop the ones out. That's what we could do. There's the other seal there, and pretty tight. Okay, so we'll get this turned over. I just want to show you something with these 3 pistons. That's the way they come out, you'll notice that. So if the caliper's sitting on the car, that's the top, that's the middle, that's the bottom. Just get myself orientated right to make sure that's correct. Yeah, it is. So that's the top, that's the middle, that's the bottom. And what I wanted to show with these pistons is something I didn't think I would need to think about, but I'll show you that in a second. Top, middle, bottom, and this piston has got a diameter of about 40 mils. You'll see it just with these calipers, 39.94. The middle piston is 38.38, probably about 38.2, 37.93, so it's at 38, and this one is 36. So in this Brembo caliper, there are 3 different sizes of pistons, which I didn't know that was the case. So when I sent away for the kit, I thought it was the wrong kit. When I opened them up, there were different size pistons in there. I pushed them out, as you see, and there is 3 different sizes of pistons. So it's probably quite important that we get these pistons the right size going back in again. Looking at the pistons, I'm not sure if the camera will pick that up. There is a couple of marks on that piston there. That's the 40 mil one. This one, again, there's a couple of wee marks, wee scores here, and the smaller one, again, a couple of small scores, and they're generally at the edge here. And the reason I've replaced these is because when I was changing the pads, they were very, very sticky, and one of the pads was actually stuck in to the caliper. And if you want to see that video, I'll put a link in the description. You can go back and look and see me having problems getting the calipers out and getting the pins off. So that's one of the reasons why we're changing these. So I would assume that these are the original pistons. This is a 2013 Range Rover. Look like the original pistons. So what age are they now? 10 years old or so, or maybe a bit more, probably 12, 11 years old. So I'll get the caliper over. We will get the new pistons and seals out, and we'll proceed to put the new seals and pistons in there. It's going to be quite difficult to try and video that, so we're working in here. I'll try my best to get a camera to show us taking these seals out, but I'll get it cleaned up first, then we'll come back to putting the seals in. So I've got my vacuum hose set up onto my device over there. It's got a vacuum on it. I've done that off camera because it's quite noisy with the compressor. I'm just going to start to vacuum out any fluid I can get into here to try and clean this up. So I'm just going to use a pick. This seal's obviously already off. This is the outer one, so I'll maybe need a wee screwdriver for that first. So all we're trying to do here is pop that seal out. It's a bit rigid around the edge and soft in there, so I'm just trying to get that off there. Let's see how that goes. There you go, that's the second one. And the third one. So it's the third seal. They're fairly simple, but they do have a wee recess. They sit in here like a wee groove on each of the pistons, and we'll just need to check to make sure we put the right seals back in again. Now inside there's a small flat seal, which is the seal which sealing the pistons when there's pressure put on it by the hydraulic fluid. So the piston's running that, so I'm going to try and see if I can pick one of these out. There we go. And there's the seal there. You'll notice there's some marks on here, and I'll be honest, I don't really know what the marks are, but I'm going to try and see if the new seal, so I've got the same marks on it. That's got 2 red marks and a white mark, which came from the bottom seal, so I'll put that there. This is the middle seal. There's the middle seal here, which has got 2 yellow and a white mark. I'm beginning to think it's probably something to do with piston size. And the final one. So these can be quite awkward to get out. That's why I'm using this small pick. This one has just got 2 white marks on it, which is the top seal, which is the 40mm piston goes on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in and make sure we clean any corrosion that's in these gaps. It'll look okay, to be fair, but there is some small bits of crud in there. I don't really want anything to fall in there, although I'll vacuum all that out before I finish. I don't think it would do any harm just to stick a couple of bits of cloth in there now. We'll try and scrape some of that stuff out. So we've got all the chambers, the piston chambers, cleaned out. We don't want any dirt in there. So this is the top of the caliper, this one, which is the largest one. Then we've got the 38mm caliper and we've got the 36. So these are the the different pistons. That's the 40, 38, 36. We've got all the seals, and the new seals do have marks on them, which are the same as the old seals, like 2 yellow and a red for the small one. It looks like that should be 3 yellows, but you can tell by the size of them where they fit. And the large caliper has got a slightly different colours, 2 red and a blue, which will fit on there. Looks a wee bit big, but once it's in position it should be fine. And that's the big caliper, which is the big piston, which is 2 white marks on it. But you should be able to tell the sizes of each of them. They won't go on. That's a decent fit. This one seems a wee bit slack actually, but I think once it's in position it should be okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to get some red rubber grease, particularly for fitting calipers, and it comes with that wee sachet there, but we'll be using that. So I've had that for a while. Get them greased up and we'll put them in one by one. I won't do them all because it's probably repeating the same process, but I'll maybe do one and let you see how I put that in. The large one, and just give this a wee clean first, and dust off it. Put that there, and we'll put some rubber grease on that. Get it nice and lubricated. Now this has been a large one, which is the top. It's going to be difficult to see in there because it's quite dark and shadowy, but I can feel the seal going in, and I will check it's sitting in position before I do anything else. So that feels fine there. A wee bit twisted at the bottom there. I do apologise you can't see in there, but I'll try and point the camera in once I've got it in position. If I can ever get it in position. It just doesn't want to. There you go. So I can feel it popping into position there. I'll just get some red rubber grease around that. We'll have a wee look at that. So I hope you can see that now. There, the O-ring sitting in its position in there. So just a matter of feeling round. It sits flat and it should slide in with ease. And the next thing we want to do is make sure we've got our boot seal, which goes in like that. So our piston's going in that orientation. That's the front of the piston that hits the caliper, and that goes in there. So I'm going to get some red rubber grease on this. It's a bit messy, but certainly helps to put it in position. And what I'm going to do is put the piston over the seal first. If I can do that. It's quite tight. That'll be Raymond, I'm doing it the wrong way. There you go. Just gently do that. So that's us got it over there. Remember, that's the outside, that's the inner part of the caliper. And all I try to do is put this in square, and you'll feel it. As we feel around, it will slide in, then we'll get the seal seated. It's much easier to do this than try and putting this seal on after the calipers in, or after the pistons in, sorry. So we'll just put that in position. There you go, it just slid straight in there. I'm just pushing around the edges of the seal. It feels nice and smooth. The seal's quite a really tight fit there. So there's the piston in place and the new seal, which seal rides on that edge of that lip at the front end of it, and this bit here pushes into that recess I was cleaning up there. So what I'll do is I'll get the rest of them in, and that's 40, 38, 36. Same process, get them in there, make sure they're all sealed properly, then we'll flip it over and try and push the other 3 pistons out. So that's we got the three pistons, the O-rings and boot seals on. I'm just pushing them in, they're pretty tight because I could feel the kind of a pressure in there with air or a wee bit of liquid that's left in there, but certainly feel a lot more smoother than the ones that were already in there. So I'm just making sure that the seals are seated right, which they are. Mostly are, yep, it looks pretty good. So what I'll do now is I'll try and reconfigure the caliper, turn it over, and we'll push the other ones out there. So I need some kind of maybe a bit of wood in there, like so, and I'm going to try and clamp this piece of wood to here, then we will blow the other ones out. So change your gloves because they're all covered in red sticky grease. So we will get our wee hose. We'll do the same for the other side. Right, here we go. There we are. So I don't know how many of them come out there. Well, these two have come out, this one's stuck in. That one's quite stuck indeed. Try and get another wee blast with the air gun. See if I can get that other one out. I'm getting some brake fluid spraying everywhere. So this one hasn't moved. So let me just take it off again there. Yeah. So look at this one. This one has not moved. Although it's moving there, but I should be able to pull that out. It's just a pity the three of them never come out there. So that's that one, the middle one. Again, it's got small marks around the edge here. I don't know whether you can see that. This is a big piston. Not too bad actually. That's not bad. And this one here. So I'm trying to think, orientate myself here. So yes, that's looking at the car from the wheel inwards. That's the top outer one. Sorry, the bottom outer one. Yeah, caliper goes like that. Right, okay, so I've got these three. I've blocked these two, and hopefully all my air pressure is going to blow that one out. It might blow it right out, so just stand by. And of course, what you don't want to do here is put your hands in there and hold that, because it will take the fingers off, or certainly give them a bit of damage. So I'm just going to put that there. No, I'm not. It's a stupid idea. Let's try that again. Oh God. Okay. There you go. So that's how we got the third one out. which again, it doesn't look too bad. The usual marks around the edges. So I'll just undo that. That bit out. These should just need to try and knock them out a wee bit, so at least I can grip them with a pair of pliers. So what I was trying to do there was just to make sure that was going to come out. I thought that had been stuck there. So if I can get another piece of wood. Oh, faffing about, isn't it? Let's see what one's come out now. There you go. That's one, the big one. Oh, that's tight, that's tight, tight. That's tight, so I'll just get some wee. Two, the final one. There you go. So that's the three out. I shall get my wee pick. Out the seals. There's one, there's two, and three. That's the three old seals out. So I'm going to do these three. I'm not going to go through that and video that process again, so it's going to be exactly the same as I've done here. I'm going to clean the edges out. I'm going to soak out any remaining brake fluid, get them all clean, get my seals set up and my new pistons, and we'll go through that process and put them in there. So give me a second, I'll be back when that's complete. So that's us got all the pistons in, all the rings in, all the boots on, all nicely pushed back. So I'm going to rebuild the caliper before we put it on the car. Once I've done that, I'm going to push the calipers apart just to try and seat the dust boots better. So if I can get them in there, just avoid putting grease on that. And we've got our pins. So I think I'm finished with this red grease. I've got a wee bit of copper slip on here. So what I really need to do is that over there. So if you've seen from the previous video, the problem I had was the caliper, sorry, the pad was sticking along this edge. So you've got to make sure that these edges are able to move within these surfaces here, so it's kind of a metal on metal. So what I would do is I'm just going to put a slight touch of copper grease on there on each moving surface like that, and I've already put some grease on the back to stop the squealing, so that allows the pad to move in and out as the pistons push it. And put a wee drop on this side as well, just in here and in there. And I've already rubbed in my wee file just to take any surface rust that's on that surface there. Okay, and we'll take our pin, which is driven in from this end. This is the top of the caliper, this is the front of the wheel, and these small pins are prone to rusting in here. As you can see, there's a wee clip on there. Don't know how well that can focus on that, and that's what's holding that pin in. So I just like to put a wee bit of copper grease on that. I'll push the first one in, lift the pad up. Okay, and lift this pad up. Bit there, so that's in there. And we'll get our small hammer and just tap that in. We'll get them in a wee bit more in a wee minute, I think. Yeah. And from the back, a wee bit of copper grease on that. Anti-seize, some people call it. And we'll just hold that there for now, and we get a large pin. Give it a bit of a clean. A wee bit of copper grease on that. These pins don't tend to stick as much as the other smaller pins, but keeps it from seizing for the next guy. And this goes in this way, like so. The two flat ends stay up there. And I'll just put this in. I think that's a 13mm nut. This is just to stop corrosion, that's all it is. Then we get our, I'm trying to think, that goes to the bottom, that goes in there, that seats there, that goes in there like that. So what I'm going to do, and I've probably made a mistake there, is I should have really hung the pads, and I'm going to push them back to that caliper press. So I've skipped ahead a wee bit there, I shouldn't have done that. However, if Apprentice Pat was here, he'd have probably kept me right. So let's place that over there like that. Okay, I mean they're not right down, but I'm down far enough I can get them to push back. So this helps push the dust boots into position, although most of them are actually in a pretty good position there. I just wanted to make sure they were all in evenly. That might help doing that. Okay, so now we'll get our bolt back in again. Get it in the right position. Get our wee 13mm nut. Spring tensioner. So I'm just going to push that in any position. Look for the wee hammer. Pushing that down to try and just line it up. The hole. hear it clicking in. Let's pick it up. It's just brake clean there, I cleaned them up with. So I think that's us ready to put the caliper back in position again on the car. And again, I'll probably, usual, have to bleed that again. So we will. We don't need this at this moment in time. I'm just sticking this in here for protection of dust, not any particles getting in there. So that's that, ready to go. Put that back on the car again, we'll get the brakes bled, and that's us. So I've got the caliper back on, it's fine. We've got the bleeders in position, we've vacuumed out or bled that, so they're all ready to go. The reservoir is just slightly low, so I'm going to top that up for now. In essence, that's us done. Refurbished this caliper. I put a wee bit extra copper grease in there just to stop any rust. We've got my banjo bolt back on and clamp off, and just about ready to put the wheel back on again. Just want to point out this thing here. So this allows us to just mount the wheel. So it's just a screw. So as we know, well, Apprentice Pat done his back end putting wheels on, so we're going to get the wheel and it hooks on to there, lifts on. Great way to put it on rather than try to wrestle with it, but anyway, that's fine. So we will do the other side exactly the same. We're going to take it off, do the disc, change the pads, we'll refurbish the caliper, and that'll be a good job done for us. Well, that's us for now, guys. We've obviously finished that side, and the passenger side we've just done. So that's all fine, all back, all bleeded. So that's us got 2 new discs, new pads, 2 new refurbished calipers, so that should do us for a long time. All I need to do now is kind of reset the suspension, because it looks as if it's all over the place. Everyone's jacking it up, but that's us. Next job is the rears. Do that next week when the weather here is a wee bit better. So it wasn't a great day to do that because it was a wee bit wet outside, so I never videoed the passenger side because it was a bit wet. But we've seen what we've done here, same as we've done over there. That's it for this video, guys. Thanks very much for watching. I'll put some links in the description to the previous video when we've done this one and done the caliper on that, which was a bit of a bugger in comparison to the other one. And we'll do the back ones possibly next week. Maybe by then Apprentice Pat might be back. But for now, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for now. Cheers.